It's Tuesday, Typal Tuesday and or Tribal Tuesday on the channel where we play the best types, creature types in Magic. And today, guess what? It's rats.
Oh, rats.
Welcome to the Attic. Manadad here. It's the channel where we explore what's fun in Magic, mostly on Arena. On Tuesdays, we like to play the best types or tribes, as we used to call them, in Magic. Today, rats. Rats really got powered up by, let me find one, by Bloomburrow. But we do have a few new cards that have been added to the mix. One of my personal pet cards that I'm trying to break here, Revenge of the Rats. Stay tuned to the channel, subscribe and all that, because I'm going to be trying, I've got some ideas of how to break this card. But it's just a one of fun of in this deck. But let's go through the deck and see how this does. This deck is actually based on a deck that went 4-1 in a challenge. So we're going to see if we can get anywhere close to that 80% win rate. Possibly not, but we'll see. It is rats, and they have a good shot in the one drop slot here. Just a couple cheap pieces of removal. Interestingly, splitting Cut Down and Disfigure. Disfigure deals very well with the mice and the cacophony scamps that deal the damage based on their power. But just a one of fun of Disfigure. But maybe when you build a deck, you could go a little bit stronger on that. We'll see what we face in the meta here. For one-drop rats, we're only using Nezumi Linkbreaker. There are a couple other one-drop rats that are a possibility, but this one dies into a creature, a non-rat creature. But anyways, it's kind of nice for that. You'll find we kind of want rats in the graveyard anyway, so if opponents bother to remove this, that's okay, or we can chump block with it. We got this Azure Beastbinder, which is kind of an unusual one. I faced this in Limited, but I never really seen it in Constructed. 1/3 Vigilance, can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or greater, and when it attacks, it basically blanks something on the opponent's side. Doesn't even have to be a creature, but if it's a creature, it becomes a 2/2. Then from Foundations, we got the reprint of Burglar Rat. You can actually, it's still in standard as I record this, you have Nezumi Informant, but when this rotates out, the Burglar Rats will still be good. So I did a 2-in-1 split here with the Burglar Rats. Kind of just attack opponent's hand. We've got one of Psychic Whirl. We're not really trying to attack opponent's hand that much, but just a little bit of value there with the Burglar Rats. 3 go for the throats, because we need to be able to remove blockers, because we want to get through with our persistent Marsh Stalkers, and these are kind of ridiculous in this deck. It's a 3-1, but it's often a 4-1 or better when you're playing it on turn 2, depending on whether you got the Nezumi Linkbreaker or some other rat in play. And when we get Threshold, which we hopefully can do pretty easily, we're going to be able to pay 2 and a black and bring it back from the graveyard tapped and attacking. And that's pretty nice. Tangled Colony also is not a great blocker, but it's a good attacker. It's a 3/2. If opponent has a big creature, they block it. We're going to get a ton of rats. And what do we do with the ton of rats? You'll find out in a second. But let's keep going with the 2-drop slot. Also, just a one of fun of Nashi Searcher in the dark. This wasn't in the original deck list I copied it from, but it seems like it should be good in the deck. 2/2 menace, deals combat damage to a player. You can mill that many cards, and then put a number of legendary and or enchantment cards. I don't believe we do have one enchantment card, Virtue of Persistence, into your hand. Or if you do no cards that way, +1/+1 counter. But as I said, we'd like to fill the graveyard. We have 3 Lord Skitter Sewer Kings. This is just a classic mid-range threat in all the formats. 3/3, gonna eat the opponent's graveyard, make rats. Karumonix, we talked about Psychic World. Karumonix, the Rat King, Toxic 1, is going to give all our rats Toxic, and then when it enters, we look at the top 5 cards of our library and get any number of rats from among them. As you can see, our deck is stacked with rats, and we put the rest on the bottom of the library, random order. Revenge of the Rats, just 4 mana, make a 1/1 black rat creature, a tap black rat creature token for each creature card in your graveyard. So again, this is tapping out. Does have flashback, so if we mill it, then we can play it from the graveyard, which is nice. You're tapping out, so you're going to not be able to play this in a lot of matchups where things are tight and you can't really afford to spend 4 mana and not affect the board. But in the games where it's gone long, we top deck this, we make a bunch of rats, opponent can't answer the rats in the next turn, or even if they can, we do it again the next turn. We're just swarming people with a bajillion rats. And we do have stuff that benefits from having a lot of rats. Vren the Relentless, 3 of in this deck. It's a 3/4 ward 2, so kind of hard for opponents to deal with. When opponents' creatures die, they exile instead. And at the beginning of each end step, we're going to get one X1/1 black rat creature tokens with this creature gets +1/+1 for each other rat you control, where X is the number of creatures that were exiled under your opponent's control this turn. So it can make sense if you've got a Vren, or you know you got a Vren coming up that's going to stick on the battlefield. Sandbag your removal. Wait for opponents then to play their creatures. Ice their creatures with the removal. Get these rat tokens, which can get pretty darn huge. And if we have one on the battlefield when we revenge of the rats, we might not even need to attack with all the 1/1 rats. We might just be able to win, depending on how big one of these tokens gets. A couple Gix's commands. This can be a board wipe. This can be sacrifice removal. This can give us life. This is really just a flexible 5 mana card. And of course, Virtue of Persistence is removal with the minus, which is nice, although it is sorcery speed. And then if we go into a game where we manage to get 7 mana, then we got the Virtue of Persistence and start just bringing our rats back out of the graveyard. And maybe even bringing our opponent's stuff out of the graveyard. 24 lands. So not short on lands, but not going heavy on lands either. It's an interesting deck. When I tested it out, it seemed decently strong, but I'm recording this before I've recorded the matches, so stick around to the end and you'll be as surprised as I am to find out how this deck did in all the games I played, not just the games I was able to fit into the video. I'll give you the stats on those at the end. All right, and with that, let's go and see some rats in action.
Hey, it's me, Overlord of the Hauntwoods. Actually, haunting and overlording are just my hobbies. My day job is managing the YouTube algorithm. I try to make sure lots of negative, conspiracy-laden clickbait shows up in your feed. You know, nightmare fuel. Whatever you do, don't like, comment, or elder gods forbid, subscribe to a channel like this one, okay? We don't need your feed filled up with people who genuinely enjoy playing Magic like this so-called Manadad. He puts deck lists and other useful links in the description. He even shows real win rate stats at the end of the videos. Yikes. Clicking on positive, helpful videos takes away from the time I could be spending haunting woods or putting my friend Writhing Chrysalis into draft boosters. But you don't have to take it from me. 9 out of 10 players who want to unban grief agree. Now let's see. What is your racist uncle clicking on today? He has impeccable taste. Let me send some of those videos your way. Some rats. Rats. Dimir Rats. What do we got? Okay, we go first. We got to cut down. Considering we've just been facing nothing but aggro. Gonna go with that. And our sequencing should be the two Darkslick Shores first. By the Gloom Lake Verge. And is it mono red? Oh, they play nothing. Get in with our Tangled Colony for an aggro play. Ooh, we drew into Karumonix. Emberheart Challenger. Yeah, I can't block you, so you may as well attack for 2. Yeah, there you go. Figured it out. We've got Disfigure. I kind of want to hold up some removal here. I mean, I kind of want to just remove... Let's just remove the Emberheart Challenger and we'll hold up, cut down. Just be popping in for 3. Now it's 17-20. It's like you did nothing, opponent. And what is it? Screaming Nemesis. They shock. That's fine, because that makes 2 rats. Thank you. You turned our 3 power 2 toughness into 2 power 2 toughness. And a manifold mouse.
worthy of the Disfigure, I think. Maybe he was supposed to use the cut down, not sure. We may as well Karumonix, give our rats Toxic. Ooh, and we got a big number of stuff to choose. Choose up to 3. Don't mind if we do. So how about that? 3 mana, draw 3. Maybe we need to be running more Karumonix in this deck. That was pretty good. Bloom Lake Verge is nice. Now we can have Vryn the Relentless. Or we could start attacking their hand, or we could Lord Skitter, hold up cut down. Kind of in favor of getting more stuff on the board here. I don't think we want to waste cut down yet. Gonna lightning strike the Karumonix. Sure. Okay. 3 damage not going at my face. Now we have a blocker for their Hired Claw. Let's get the Marsh Stalker down. No attacks. I think they were worried about Toxic, but our deck's not really a Toxic deck. The Toxic is incidental here. They do shock that, but again, once we get 7 cards in the graveyard, we'll be able to bring this guy back. Lightning strike, okay. Do they attack? They do. Okay, well, let's go with Vryn the Relentless. Hit them back for 2. Let's see. They might be out of ammo. It's kind of hard for them to remove 4 toughness anyway. Oh, Screaming Nemesis. Okay. We don't have a good removal for that. Let's see. On the other hand, we attack with... And maybe they block, and we can cut down their 1/2 if they double block. Play the Informant, get rid of one of their cards in their hand. Play it now while they still have cards in hand. They are going to double block. Okay. It's going to work perfectly. Potentially. Lock it in, opponent. Lock it in. Yep. And the nice thing is the Screaming Nemesis gets exiled. Oh, I guess that still triggers. So maybe it wasn't that nice. Alright. Alright. Could just be mana efficient. I guess we'll just be mana efficient. I wanted a Nezumi Informant there, but then they have another Screaming Nemesis. Okay, that could be painful. Get that last card out of hand. What was it, opponent? Oh, Witchstalker Frenzy? Wow. That worked out beautifully. And, man, the question is here, they're going to be able to hit us pretty hard with this Screaming Nemesis. Do we just win if I play this? Because that'd be 8, 9, 10... Yeah, I think we just win. Take that, mono red. Look at this rat army. Rat-a-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. They can block the 9, throw it at our face, but we hit for 13 or more. And they're out of cards in hand. I'm going to prematurely play the meme.
Ah, ah,
Oh, rats.
Oh, opponent got salty here.
You know what a hurry we're in!
Salty didn't like it much.
I do not suppose you could have split things up.
salty.
Rub.
Do it! Salty. I am only waiting around to kill you.
I should say, under the principle of charity, we will actually assume that they just got disconnected. If you're a mono red player, you want to lose fast if you're going to lose, and win fast if you're going to win. So you would just concede this game normally, or let the damage through. Not even sure why it's timed out here. They don't have anything they can respond to. I guess they get to pick blocks. So opponent either chose the very last moment they could rope here, or they got disconnected. And under the principle of charity, we will assume they got disconnected, and they wanted to create some space for us to play some hilarious memes, like for red. And we did have Karumonix on the battlefield, so we could play our toxic meme. Dimir Rats! Rats! I don't know why I sounded so raspy when I said that. I have a frog in my throat, but I'm not playing frogs, I'm playing rats. Okay, tap land turn 1. Got a turn 2 play. Possibly gonna get mana screwed this game. Find out, okay. Possibly up against a control deck. Marsh Stalkers could be useful. The recurrent threat. Psychic Whirl could be useful. Restless Reef actually is probably one of our best draws. Ooh, Darkslick Shores. I should have cracked that. Gonna turn this into some map tokens, opponent. You're thinking about it. They do. Let's see. I got a map meme.
What are you doing? Hey, Mike found a map.
I do think Vren the Relentless is probably kind of not very useful against control decks. 3 steps ahead. Okay, so I'm guessing they don't have a board wipe then, or not the one that would wipe out a bunch of small stuff. Lilipad Village. We'll see. This goes through, it could really hurt. It probably doesn't go through. Okay. They did spend 4 mana to counter a spell, though. What do we get? We get a land. Boo. We're pretty good. Once we can attack with the Relentless Reef. Lord Skitter's interesting. If they're out of counter spells yet. Don't seem to be. Shama's Tidebinder, okay. Well, that's a good sign. They're actually playing creatures. So, does that mean we can commit to the board a bit more? I'm worried they have a 5 mana exile everything. Our deck kind of folds to board wipes anyway. I'm wondering how much we should even bother playing around them. And I don't like this flood. I guess I'll play this pre-combat. There's a good chance they just counterspell here. If they somehow don't, we can get a double surveil. First they countered. And drew cards. Ditch to normalize. Okay. Well, let's see if we can make so Sewer King can survive. Hey! We got another one coming. Alright. Let's attack. May as well attack with everything, I think. They're willing to take 9. Put another creature in our graveyard. We'll happily accept it. No, they just took it all. Weird. Why do they need the Tidebinder around? Let's attempt this once again. Does not get countered. Now they can't even block the 1/1. Otherwise it'd be lethal. Assuming they don't just have removal. They could turn Wren into maps. Flash. Wrangler of the Damned. Okay. They trade that with the 6/1? They do. And they'll just turn that guy into a 1/1, but that's fine. That's increasing our threshold. And we're going to get the trigger. We activate this? Activate only if a bird, frog, otter. We can, I think. Probably just want to... cut down is actually drawable. See what opponent has. Guess that was a case where maybe we play around the board. Is cut down is just win more, right? We don't really need to remove their 3/2. So what are the chances they got another one of these flash guys? Because cut down will actually remove those guys. Plus up this. So maybe we were supposed to plus up Wren? I don't know. They got like, how many cards in hand? 3? 3 cards in hand. Oh, but we got Threshold, so we can bring these guys back. But we didn't have Threshold to bring back the other one. Okay. So the big trick was a Curiosity. Let's remove the 3/2. And, okay. So long control. Playing the rats.
Oh, rats.
Playing rats for Typal Tuesdays. I'm trying to like do the wave, but you can't really even see. Like do it close to me. Body. The things I do to entertain you all. Okay, the Nezumi Linkbreaker Tron, opponent goes first. Kind of seemed like a terrible hand. On the other hand, I don't know if this is a deck where you really want to mulligan a playable hand. So we'll just keep it. Maybe their control deck and Cavern of Souls will be the key to winning. They're black. Hey, we got a Revenge of the Rats. So let's just aggressively... Oh, that comes out blue. Whoops.
From the end zone, he punts it. Oh my goodness, this could be the longest punt in Super Bowl history.
I don't think I've been that excited for a punt. What a punt.
I think opponent might be black removal tribal. In which case, we're in good shape. Even if they make us discard this, we have flashback. Let's hope they don't use their discard spells too soon. Ooh, Nashi. Cavern of Souls on Rat. No reason to prematurely play anything here. I think we'll play the Marsh Stalker before the Nashi. Because they seem to be signaling they have removal. I think the Marsh Stalker will eat the removal. And if I had to guess... We do want some rats in the graveyard for Revenge of the Rats. Nowhere to run. There we go. Get piece of removal number 1. Nowhere to run to, baby. Nowhere to hide. Well, this is not great. We can hold one of these back. I guess we'll just no attack. We'll just hold those back as blockers. Jump block. We could actually take a hit from the slasher, provided they don't follow up with the demon. They don't. Okay. Got down. Well, opponent, put some more of my creatures in the graveyard, why don't you? We got the mercenary. They're going to cut down the mercenary. Interesting. They really are just removal tribal. Maybe we can get one more piece of removal out of them. Unholy Annex. I think they're just stuck on lands. Deciding whether to even attack. No, they would rather block all our rats. Uh-huh. We'll... definitely attack with those two. So we can put one more in the graveyard. They'll let us. The Marsh Stalker is pretty darn big at this point. What do we think? Should we just make it bigger? 11-1 opponent. Yep, they hit their fourth land. They do manage to exile that, which is sad. Children's Edict. Yeah, we'll lose attack. Actually, we probably should have just lost one of those guys. Go to 11. Man, flooding out. Just keep one of these guys back. We kind of have to start just trying to whittle them down. If they can't manage to play a demon, which they probably can at this point. They've got 4 mana, they got 4 cards in hand. They're drawing 2 cards a turn. Go to 6. Won't let them know we have just a land in hand. Archfiend of the Dross. Okay, well now they're going to drain us for 2. The Unholy Annex. That's too bad. Just remove this. And do we keep one of these back? That's potentially 5 damage. And then if they can't follow up with the demon, yeah, we'll keep one of these guys back. We don't have lethal. It is at the point, though, where they could drop the 2/4 flyer and remove our blocker and just win. 4 cards in hand is pretty easy to do that. What are their 4 cards? If they're not going to play anything. We know they're not lands. Deep Cavern Bat. Okay. They're trying to clear the clear the decks here. Yeah, they had the Bloodletter all along, of course. Burglar Rat. Makes them discard a swamp. They must have just drawn that. They know we have this swamp. I guess it doesn't behoove anything to keep it in hand. 3 blockers. They would remove 2 of our creatures. We'd get through for 2. Don't hate it. I don't love it either. Ooh, and another Unholy Annex. So they're going to drain us for 4 every turn. They don't even have to. Actually, they could drain us for 8, right? We got the Burglar Rat. The Burglar Rat party. These are bad draws. We needed, like, removal for the Bloodletter. Toot sweet. And we needed to have a thing that exiles so we could have gotten rid of the Slasher. We would just need more removal in general for best of 1. It's a removal-based format. Keep back 2 blockers, maybe? I don't know how, but they can at least deal 6 to us. I think we're just toast. We're just toast here. Got him down to 5, though. Yeah, they're not even bothering. Boom. The rats that are Dimir. Blue and black. Blue-black rats. Entering match. Who are we up against? Hyenas rule. Okay. Coming out strong for hyenas. And of course we get some blue rats with no way to cast them, but I think we can keep this. Enough blue sources will draw into it. Marstalker, okay, sleight of hand. The terror deck. Karumonix would be nice. Lord Skitter should be really good if that lands. Let's hope they don't. No, they're holding up the 2 mana. Ew. Yeah, let's make them spend the counterspell on Karumonix, I guess. Maybe we should have done the Azure Beastbinder. That would have been the way to do it. We knew they had the counter. Okay, well now we can double spell. So let's Burglar Rat. That lands. They probably wanted to put some spell in the graveyard. Another, what is it? A negate. Yeah. There is stuff to negate in our deck, but not this turn. Okay, unsummon the Marstalker. Okay. That mean they're out of... We got the terror down. So it was a little late. We could attack. We could pay 2 to make that a 2/2. I guess that's okay. Or we just start building up our board here. They're tapped out. Is now the time to do the Sewer King, or is now the time to Vryn? They could very well have more bounces too. Okay. Here's what we're doing. We're gonna Nashi and Marstalker. Now we have a number of threats. We're gonna hope they don't have a second Tolarian Terror. They opt up to the bottom. Play land. Probably good. They do have a second Tolarian Terror. That's bad. Well, we can Sewer King. Start eating their graveyard. We can trade this for a terror if they care to. They do, okay. We're back in business. We're back in business. They're hitting a lot of floods here. So Revenge of the Rats is not useful yet. Let's keep eating their spells. And Nashi has a free attack. We could beat Spinder. We'd have to pay 2 for the ward, so I guess we'll just get in with Nashi. See what we hit here. Hit a spell. No building up our rats, however. Vryn might get counterspelled. Nope, Vryn does not get counterspelled. Alright. I like the shape we're in here. Opponent could have a flood recollection and refill their hand. That would kind of put us in trouble, but... Okay, getting all the Lord Skitters. Wondering if we're supposed to attack with the old Skitter... Skitter-de-ditter. I think I'm just going to attack with everything and turn the Tolarian Terror into a 2/2. And they can eat a rat. Hopefully they eat the Burglar Rat. Help fill up our graveyard. Thank you. Go to 3. Now she hits. Got a legendary creature. An opponent scoops it up. Go for rats.
Oh, rats.
Dimir Rats. Up against Jeff. The almighty Jeff. The funny Lego videos my daughters watch. It's a Lego character named Jeff who's like an evil genius. Clones himself. Cracking the Fabled Passage. Find a Plains. Well, I guess as long as they're slow, we'll get the colony down. Okay. White-green. I'll go with the Karumonix pre-combat, just in case the Toxic makes a difference. Wow, completely whiff. Last time we paid 3 mana to get a 3/3 and draw 3. That time it was just a 3 mana 3/3. Overlord of the Hauntwoods. Okay, Gloomlake Verge. We can stop drawing now. I mean, I guess if they have the board wipe, they have the board wipe. do we just... Maybe we hold back? Karumonix could refill our hand, though. They're at 8. And we have 8 on board. I guess we'll pass. Yeah, they have Sunfall. Alright, Karumonix. It's up to you. Find me some some more threats. 1 threat, but that threat could find more threats. As long as they don't have 2 Sunfalls. Suns fall, perhaps? Yep, no, they have 2 Sunfalls. Alright, well. We could probably actually have played that out, I don't know. I got salty. So, how do we do with the rats? Well, we went exactly 4 and 4. 60% on the play, 33% on the draw. Games are fairly fast. 8 games in under 45 minutes. I think probably, how would I tweak this deck? I would definitely put in more removal because we faced a lot of aggro decks and we couldn't necessarily stabilize long enough. It might have been that, especially in the first games I was playing with this deck, I was kind of inexperienced about how to use the removal against aggro. Maybe should have held back, like Virtue of Persistence, expecting the Screaming Nemesis or things like that, and taking the damage from it. Hard to say, but I don't know if the discard cards are that useful in the deck also. Karumonix is great. You might go up to 3 of that. Lord Skitter's good in the right matchups. We did kind of flood out on Lord Skitters in one game, which it's that legendary creature thing. I guess that's the tension. Ren the Relentless is decent. I think a lot of times when we cast it, opponent had the mana to pay the ward 2, and we were kind of out of removal at that point. You're definitely winning if Ren is going off. So it might be a bit win more. It's hard to say. I wouldn't trim it out of the deck completely at this point. But I might put in like a couple more 1-drop rats and take a look and see if I could get in maybe another cut down. Go for the full 4 of Go for the Throats. And Nashi was pretty decent. You might be able to go up to 2 Nashis. In terms of the mana base, I was pretty much liking things. Maybe could cut the tap lands. Although Restless Reef was something we wanted to have. It's hard to turn on in this deck. And the games where you're turning it on, are you just losing anyway? Like we got double Sunfalled. Maybe in that game if we had Restless Reef. It's a question. I did put one of Undercity Sewers. We like the Surveil in the deck. We like having the Island and Swamp to turn on the where is it? The Darkslick Shores? No. Where's the new Gloom Lake Verge? This one. It's grayed out. Leave your comments. Let me know how you would adjust this deck. Tangled Colony not being able to block is tricky. It does hit pretty well. It's pretty good against the aggro decks. So maybe as long as there's just facing a lot of mono red and red white enchantment aggro, maybe the Colony is still acceptable. But it is a tricky top deck, and it is rare wild cards. And I think maybe, there's something to be said for just a deck that's just building up with a lot of these discard rats, some mill rats that you could put in, and then maybe more Revenge of the Rats. I kind of liked how this was performing. And as I said, stick around because I have some ideas for things to exploit this card, because I think this card can be exploited. The fact that you can flash it back, that you can play it twice. I know the rats coming in tapped is pretty bad, but impact tremors. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Thanks for joining me in the attic. I've been Manadad, reminding you Magic is a game so fun, even dads can enjoy it. Adios.